Today we're doing prepositions for 10 standards, which is yet another exercise which falls under the category of do as directed in your grammar section for your board exam. Okay, so I've divided this topic into the different sections under which we classify prepositions. Okay, so it becomes simpler for your self-study. Let's start with the prepositions which we use for countries. Okay, prepositions for countries. There are three different prepositions. You will have to decide based on the first letter and the last letter of the country. Okay, so if the country ends with S, this is the most straightforward one. You know it is a plural country and you have to put AUX. Okay, if you're going to that particular country or something is happening in that country. Okay, so États-Unis ends with S, so you have to put AUX. Okay, United States. Then Maldives ends with S, so you have to put AUX. Seychelles ends with S, so you have to put AUXO. Philippines ends with S, so you have to put AUX. Pays-Bas as the Netherlands. Okay, even in English it ends with S, so Pays-Bas ends with S, you have to put AUX. These are the 5 famous countries which end with S. Okay, so these, if you're putting a preposition before them, it has to be AUX and nothing else. Now, if you have a country that starts with a vowel, okay, or it ends with E, or it does both, okay, that is starts with a vowel and it ends with E. So if it meets one of these criteria, that it either starts with a vowel or it ends with E or both, then you have to put en. Okay, any one of these. So if you say and, which is India, starts with a vowel and it ends with E, so both. Okay, this is the third category, so you have to put en. France ends with E, this is the second category, so again you put en. Iran starts with a vowel, first category, en. Australia starts with a vowel and it ends with E, this is like and. Okay, third category, put en. Okay, Nouvelle-Zélande, it ends with an E, which is like France, second category, so you have to put en. So whenever the country either starts with a vowel or it ends with E or it does both, then you have to put en. Okay, then the third category is if the country, now here it has to satisfy both the condition. It should start with a consonant and it should not end with E or S. Okay, then you have to put AU. Here both have to be satisfied. In the previous one was any one of the three. Okay, so look at these countries. Portugal starts with a consonant, doesn't end with E, doesn't end with S. So you have to put AU. Japan starts with a consonant, doesn't end with E, doesn't end with S. So you have to put O. Canada starts with a consonant, doesn't end with E, doesn't end with S, so you're good to put O. Brazil starts with a consonant, doesn't end with E, doesn't end with S, O. Bangladesh starts with a consonant, doesn't end with E, doesn't end with S, so you have to put O. Okay, so these are the three rules that you have to follow while putting prepositions in front of the names of countries. Okay, every country will fall into only one of the three rules. Okay, the rules are such that each and every country has to and will fall into only one of the rules. Okay, so that is how you deal with countries. Now, you have two countries which are exceptions to the rule. I told you when it ends with E, you have to put EN. Now, these are two exceptions which end with E, but you have to put AU. Okay, so learn these by heart. For Mexique, which ends with E, it is not EN, it is AU. Mexico. Okay, Mexique takes AU. Cambodia also ends with E, but it takes AU. So these are exceptions. Okay, learn them properly. Now, when I talk about cities, states, villages, etc., anything that is smaller than a country, basically, a district, a state, a city, anything that is smaller than a country, you have to use a. Okay, when it's smaller than a country, you don't have to bother about first letter, last letter, nothing like that. Straight away, you have to put a. So, for example, Goa, just state smaller than a country. Mumbai city smaller than a country. Londres is London, okay, which is a city again. So you have to put a. Anything smaller than a country takes a. Okay, now when I talk about the continents, okay, you will have to use en for all the continents. So Asie, Onasie, Asia, okay. Europe takes en as well. Afrique, on. Then you know which are the other continents. Australia takes on, and America also takes Okay, so all the consonants take en. So this is how you deal with places. Next, when you're talking about sports and games, you are using the contracted articles of a. Okay, so if you're talking about a masculine sport, it is o, feminine sport, it is ala, and plural sport, it is aux. Okay, and you will always find sports being used with the verb jouer, which is to play. Okay, so I've given you a list of the major ones. Au tennis, because it's le tennis, right? So when it's masculine, you have to put o. So au tennis, au foot, au basketball. It can also be given as au basket. Okay, the ball need not be there. Then for feminine sports, à la natation, swimming, à la boxe. Okay, boxing. Then plural sports, au cat, aux, cards, playing cards. Aux échecs, which is checkers or chess. Okay, it's plural. So aux. Aux arts martiaux, martial arts, plural. Okay. If you want to say video games, that will also be plural. Aux jeux vidéo. Okay, plural again. So aux. This is how you deal with the sports and games. Now, when you're talking about musical instruments, again you're playing them, but this time you will have to use the contracted articles of the. Okay, so for masculine it is du, feminine de la, plural de. So jouer du piano, okay, masculine, du violon, du saxophone. These are three masculine instruments. Three feminine instruments, de la guitare, de la harpe, de la trompette. Okay, guitar, harp, and trumpet. And the only plural instrument which I could think of are the drums. So de tambur. Okay, so this is the way you tackle the sports and games. You have to use contracte, article contracte of a, and for musical instruments, article contracte of the. Now, when you're talking about seasons of the year, okay, you have to use en for 3 seasons. Okay, and the fourth one also, if they include mousson as a season, you have to use en for that also. So en été, en hiver, en automne, en mousson, in the summer, in the winter, in the autumn, in the monsoon. But for printemps, which is the spring, you have to use au. Okay, so these four take en. Printemps is the exception, takes au. Okay, now when you talk about months and years, all of them by rule take en. So en janvier, en février, whenever we're talking about a month, any month of the year will take en. Same way when you're talking about any year, it will also take en. Okay, when you're talking about illnesses, the word is mal. Okay, for pain or for sickness, it is mal. So again, you will have to use the article contracte of a. Okay, so masculine part of the body o, feminine part of the body a la, plural part of the body aux. Okay, so mal au ventre, ventre is stomach, which is masculine, so o. Mal au dos, which is back, so backache, dos is masculine. Mal à la gorge, gorge is your throat, which is feminine. Mal à la tête, tête is your head, which is feminine, so like a headache would be mal à la tête. Okay, now two plural parts of the body is ear, which is your eyes. So if your eyes are paining, mal aux yeux, because it's plural, you have to put aux. Okay, dents are teeth, so that is again plural, toothache. Okay, mal aux dents, plural, so aux. Now there are specific prepositions which have their own meanings, okay, which you will have to infer from the context of the sentence. So I've given them to you here with their English meanings, okay, and I've given you some examples of sentences. So I'll quickly go through these. Après is after. Nous mangeons le dessert après le déjeuner. We eat dessert after the meal, okay, whether it's lunch or dinner. Avec is with. So je suis allé à Londres avec mes parents. I went to London with my parents. Okay, contre is against. L'équipe indienne a gagné le match contre l'équipe anglaise. So the Indian team won the match against the English team. Okay, these are specific to particular context. So you'll have to infer from the context as to which preposition you're going to use. Okay, dans is in, you know this. So mon ami aime étudier dans son chambre. Sorry, there's a mistake here. It should be sa. Okay, because chambre is feminine. So my friend likes to study in his room, dans sa chambre. Then de is from. So les enfants viennent de Paris. Children are coming from Paris. Entre is between. So Thierry est debout entre Michael et Laurent. entre. So Thierry is standing between Michael and Laurent. Par is by, which we mostly use when I talk about the passive voice, right? The devoir est fait par Susan. The homework is done by Susan. Pendant is during. So il fait froid pendant l'hiver. Okay. It is cold during the winter. And sur is on. Okay. Les livres sont sur la table. The books are on the table. You could refer to your fourth lesson, Chez moi, from your 8th standard textbook to get more of these kinds of place prepositions. Now, two important notes that you need to make note of. Okay, partir, the verb partir, which is to leave, is always followed by pour. Okay, so le vol part pour Mumbai. Learn the conjugation of partir properly so you know when you have to use pour. Okay, the flight is leaving for Mumbai. Partir will always be followed by pour. Same way. Diriger, which is to direct, and se diriger will be to move or to direct oneself. Okay, diriger is always followed by vers, which is towards. Okay, so le train se dirige vers la gare. The train is moving towards the station. So diriger is always followed by vers. Okay, keep these two things in mind. Partir and pour, diriger and vers. And with that, we're done with this lesson on prepositions. Thank you.